talking about 5 things that I found very interesting about the Gilmore Girls pilot episode. The first one is that at the beginning of the episode, when Rory and Lorelai are getting coffee at Luke's Diner, that Luke's Diner is not the Luke's Diner in the rest of the show. The producers were not sure if Gilmore Girls was going to be a hit, so they did not have a mock town called Stars Hollow yet where they would film the rest of the TV series. After the pilot was aired and there was a big following, then they filmed Luke's Diner at a mock diner and not an actual diner in an actual town. So that's a fun fact, very interesting. If you knew that, you are definitely a diehard Gilmore Girl. Oi, with the poodles already. Haha. Okay, so then fun fact number 2 of the pilot, I was going to say season, but show, is that Drella, who's the harp player at the Independence Inn, was actually supposed to be cast as Suki, who is Melissa McCarthy. So Drella actually had a contract with a different show, and so she ended up not being able to do Suki in Gilmore Girls. And honestly, I'm very pleased and glad that she was not able to, although I thought she did a good job as Drella, the harp player. I think Melissa McCarthy killed the role as Suki. And it's fun to see Melissa McCarthy in the Suki role because she plays such interesting roles now that is so unlike her character in Gilmore Girls. So that's fun fact number 2. So the third interesting thing about the pilot episode of Gilmore Girls is that there's a scene where Rory is at public school and there's a bunch of girls sitting around her that are painting their nails. And the girl that's sitting directly behind her is a character that shows up later in the show, actually later in the first season. And she ends up being Summer, which is Tristan's girlfriend. And Tristan is a classmate of Rory's that she has at her private school, Chilton. So that's a fun fact and that happens a lot in Gilmore Girls in general, where there'll be a character in one episode and then they later show up in another episode as a different character. So that's just a fun fact and a fun thing about the Gilmore Girls seasons. The fourth interesting thing about the pilot season is that in that same episode where Rory's at public school working on her assignment, her teacher is Crazy Carrie. So this is another instance in where a character's in the pilot season and then she ends up being another character in later seasons, in later episodes. So Crazy Carrie is a woman who hits on Luke, the diner owner, and Crazy Carrie is friends with Liz, and Liz is Luke's sister. So that's just another fun fact. Crazy Carrie was a teacher in her past life, apparently, and then she became more promiscuous as she got older, I guess. I don't know. So the fifth interesting thing about the pilot season is that we get introduced to Lane, which is Rory's best friend from Stars Hollow. And Lane talks about in the first episode her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Kim, which is funny because in later episodes and in later seasons, we only ever get introduced to Mrs. Kim, and Mr. Kim does not make an appearance. So I think that they just maybe couldn't find a character that fit Mr. Kim, and they decided that Mrs. Kim was going to be a solo parent, but they don't really give much backstory to the Kim's situation, especially Mrs. Kim and Mr. Kim, and what happens there. So I guess that's just a mystery of the Gilmore Girls that keeps the show interesting, and we'll just have to guess on what happens. Maybe in the revival, with the photos already! Woo! So excited about the revival. But maybe in the revival they will answer that question, that burning question of what happens to Mr. Kim or where is Mr. Kim, and give us some insight on that. So those are my 5 interesting things about the pilot episode. I really hope you enjoyed. I really hope that if you're a Gilmore Girls fan, or even if you're not, that you'll hit that subscribe button, that you'll like this video, and that you'll realize that where I lead, you should follow. This mug was also, I don't know why, I'm rambling. I do this, I ramble. And this is my channel. This is my channel. That she does not get financial aid. No, that's the college. See? Diner that's eventually in the show. I think I repeated myself, but I think you know what I mean. I'm gonna restart because that was ridiculous.